Hey everyone, I'm back here with another toy review, and this time it's the Jurassic World Jurassic Park Legacy Collection Jeep Wrangler. Now it comes in a really nice box here. It's got Matchbox up on the top there, as well as this also being made by Mattel. So I'm not sure if Matchbox is actually a subdivision of Mattel or if they just work together on this. But it's in a really nice display box. And if you want to get the toy out, there are keys, plastic keys, going up into the underside. Now, it says on the box that if you want to get it out, you have to kind of tear along the bottom here, and then you can peel this back and unlock it. But if you don't want to ruin the box, all you've got to do is slice the sellotape on the side there and along the bottom there, and then this bit here will fold out, and you can get underneath there to twist and unlock the key yourself. And if you do the same thing on the other side as well, you can then fold those bits of the box back together, and it's pretty much mint still. No, I'm not a mint in box collector, but because this is quite a nice display box, I can understand why people might want to keep it so they can just sit the Jeep back in there while it's on the shelf or something. So if you do that, you don't have to ruin the box, and then it pulls out and you see the keys come up through these bits of plastic here and go into two holes that are in the bottom of the vehicle there. And on the back of the box here, you've got a really nice picture of the vehicle in action with a couple of the Legacy Collection figures in it. Though in the UK, those figures aren't available, so it's going to be confusing and frustrating for some kids who don't realise that, who see Alan and Ellie sitting in the front of the vehicle there and then can't find them in the shops anywhere. And the tow line in use there, which is a lot longer than the tow line you actually get with the toy. It is not that long, unfortunately. Now here it is out of the packaging, and it's really accurate to the movie. There are a few slight details that could have done with a little bit extra paint, such as the door handles here, which should be the same colour as that kind of foot stand there, the step. But it's only slight details like that that are missing, and there aren't very many of them. You can see it's got quite a nice paint job, nice stickers here. But if you're buying this from a store, check that the sticker is on straight, because when I first got this sticker was wonky on this side and it really bugged me. But by the time I realised, I'd got home and I wasn't going to drive all the way back to the store. But luckily I managed to put a hairdryer on it and heat the sticker enough to peel it off and then put it on straight without damaging it. But that's just something to keep an eye on, to make sure the stickers are all on straight. But otherwise, it's a really great looking vehicle. JP18 on the front there. Tyres. All-terrain TA. BF Goodrich. Jeep written on the side there. There's quite a lot of detailing inside as well. You can see along the dashboard there. There are speakers and little controls and things, and the steering wheel. Gear stick and cup holders there. So the inside looks pretty nice too. There's a look at the seats and the detailing on them. So you can fit about 4 figures in there from the new line. They're the 3 3/4 inch figures. The old Kenner figures won't fit, unfortunately, they're just a bit too big. Nice windscreen there, and I like that there is actually some clear plastic in the windscreen. I always hate it when vehicles have a window but don't have a windscreen in it, like the original Jurassic Park Jeep didn't. The front there. The lights on the front are stickers, and so is that there. But they look good. It's a nice solid feeling vehicle as well. Like the plastic doesn't feel cheap at all or brittle. And there's a hook on the back, though I don't think there are any trailers or anything that we can connect to that, but there is a hook there for putting trailers on if you've got anything that would connect. I can't remember in the film if there was a tyre on the back of the Jeep or not, but I know on the original toy of the Jeep there was. So whether that's something that Mattel have missed out on or not, I'm not sure. Now they didn't release any of the Legacy Collection humans in the UK, so unfortunately I don't have Muldoon or Ellie or any of those characters to put in here, but I've got the new Owen figure, and that fits in there perfectly fine, as you can see there. See him through the windscreen there. And his hands, he's got enough articulation that his hands hold onto the steering wheel nicely, which I like. just to make it look a bit more realistic. The wheels all roll really nicely too. It's a very smooth action, it's not bumpy at all, no friction or anything. And you can see here the underside has got a lot of really nice sculpting as well. So if you want to have the T-Rex come along and knock the Jeep over, it doesn't shatter the illusion. You've got all the, I don't know, pistons and axles or whatever these things are underneath here, all sculpted in, which I really like. It's a nice detail, but I would have missed if it wasn't there. It's the exhaust and things. The fuel canister. And the action feature of the toy is that on the front here it has a tow line. There's a hook that you can pull out and that extends, and then to pull it back in you just turn on these wheels. There's one either side and that reels it back in there, and then you can just hook it back on the front like that. The only issue I have is that I wish the line was longer, because as you can see, if you wrap it around just a thin little tree stump that's kind of in scale with the vehicle, there's hardly any line left. I wish it was about twice as long really as that. I don't know if you could extend it if you had some spare string or something, but I think it would look better and be better for when you're playing around with these things. Now here's a comparison with the original Jeep Wrangler from the Kenner Jurassic Park line. As you can see, the Kenner one has this kind of snare feature that we didn't see in the movie, and is bigger and bulkier than the new one. And it's obviously designed for bigger figures as well. On the front, rather than JP18, it's got the Jurassic Park logo. And the original is 27 rather than 18 and doesn't have any doors. But it does have a spare tyre on the back. Now you see inside this vehicle there's very little detailing other than the bright yellow steering wheel. There's no details other than the gear stick in the middle there. There's a few little buttons, and on the controller in the passenger seat for the snare, and the seats are just moulded in there. Also on the bottom there's not really any detailing either. And you also have to be careful because the joints here where the wheels connect are really delicate. I've had two snap off already that I've had to glue back on this, and yet they look like they'd be reasonably sturdy, but for some reason they break quite easily, in my experience at least, so it's something to be careful of. Now the original vehicle would only fit 3 figures, and one of them would have to be standing up in the back because there's a missile launcher that clips on to the back there. I don't have that because I got this second hand and I wouldn't have liked it anyway because it's not accurate to the film, and I'd want this vehicle to be as accurate as possible. But it fits 3 figures in nicely and they look pretty good in there, even if he does have to be standing up at the back. Now, unlike the new vehicle, this original didn't actually have a windscreen in the window, it was just empty. So I cut a bit of plastic off of a toy box and stuck on there so they would have a windscreen. One of the cool features with this one is that the windscreen here actually breaks off, so you can recreate that moment in the movie when they're being chased by the T-Rex and drive underneath that fallen log and it smashes this off.
Must go faster.
It also has the snare on the side here, which can extend to catch dinosaurs, the smaller dinosaurs like a velociraptor or something. See how that extends there. And the seat that's on the side here will actually slide out, and the figure sits there with a little control mechanism in between their legs there to operate the snare. Now this obviously wasn't in the movie, but in the Lost World they did have vehicles that incorporated this feature, and I'm sure that it's because they took inspiration from the Kenner toy line and they saw that this was a toyetic design, and so incorporated into the second film with the Hunters vehicles that had these extending seats and snares. Now toyetic is a term that Hollywood use for designs they can use in a movie that would translate well to toys, so the movie can basically be an advert for the toy line. And I'm sure that they must have seen this and thought this was toyetic, and that's why we get vehicles very similar to this in the Lost World. Well, thanks for joining me at this look at the Mattel Legacy Collection Jurassic Park Jeep Wrangler toy. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video.